There's a drug called mannitol. Good time to bring it up. That helps reduce ICPs. So if you ever need to recommend, it's a diuretic that helps get the fluid off the brain as opposed to the fluid off the lungs. So if you ever have to recommend a medication to a patient that has high ICPs, that's the one that you're going to give. It's mannitol.
But doesn't it increase, from what I remember about the mannitol, is it increases the blood pressure, so you have to be careful to watch your patient.
Yeah, but the risk of one versus another is the fight you get into. So you have to be careful. But if you don't bring down their ICPs, they will die. Their brainstem will eventually infarct and die. So, okay, next group is neuromuscular disorders. So we already know MG and GB, everybody knows those. Myasthenia gravis, Guillain-Barré. What else would fall under neuromuscular? MS? Yep, ALS. Multiple sclerosis and muscular dystrophy. There's a lot of them.
To look at it. I treated someone with it.
Anything that's going to disrupt somewhere between the nerves and the neurons or the muscles could be a whole different, like myasthenia gravis disrupts the acetylcholine at the receptor site, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a muscle problem. Guillain-Barré is a nerve problem. ALS is a neuron problem. So different things has different problems. So any other one that falls under neuromuscular. So what do we need to watch for in this person? Alan, tell me one thing.
I was asking a question.
What's your question,
What's
son?
MS?
Multiple sclerosis. Sorry about that. Now I'm asking you a question.
So what do you want to look for?
Yeah, you got a patient who has a neuromuscular problem.
You want to check like their cognitive, like if they're like losing, drooping in the face.
Yeah,
or-
so just overall muscle,
Yeah. They have like feelings in their hands and stuff.
muscle weakness. So we know MG, mind to the ground, right? You guys learned it like that to help you remember? So that's descending. Please, if you're in a clinic site, we're not gonna say mind to the ground. Doc, kind of along with what we talked about yesterday, the patient's got fully compensated respiratory acidosis and their paralysis is going from the mind to the ground. Great. Yeah. Remember, that's what I paid for. Okay, so mind to the ground is called, it's descending, excuse me. Ground to the brain is ascending. So, and that's how they'll present, and we'll talk more about that as we get, but you know, you're gonna see the droopy eyes, the ice pack test. You guys talk about that, right? Okay. So muscle weakness, what else do we need to watch for? If they're, okay, but what specifically? If their muscles aren't working, what's not gonna work?
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm, thank you.
Shallow breathing or water breathing?
Yeah, we do that, but there's specifically, so diaphragm strength, and we test that with a NIF or MIP.
That's right.
Oh, coming back?
Sorta.
I mean, where it's like,
When you say it, it's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't come
Remember the
back.
file cabinet, get the folder out.
I think there's a key on, I think a lock on it.
Oh, no. Sharon, do you mind getting the NIF meter out so we could show them? So NIF is negative inspiratory force. MIP is maximum inspiratory pressure, or any combination. Sometimes we like to say negative inspiratory pressure. or maximum inspiratory force. So anything of those combinations. So all we're gonna do, and Sharon, I'll pass this around. These are just NIF meters, and all we do is there's a little adapter on the end. You can also do it through the ventilator, but there's a little adapter on the end. You just cover the hole and suck in, and it's gonna go negative because we want our patient to have negative muscle strength, right? To generate that breath.
So it should fit on the end of an ET tube or a trach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or the patient can kind
There's a hole right here. You just cover the hole. And this, some people are surprised to find out that this can even be done on an unconscious patient. And if you can get on anybody, because if you cover this hole, the patient will get no air. And they'll start sucking automatically, unless they're brain dead. But then we wouldn't be doing this anyways. So it will go negative. So the normal is negatives greater than, well, I don't want to say greater than. Less than, I know, this is always a problem. Negative 60 to negative 100 is normal. Critical, which means they need to be intubated, is 0 to negative 20. If my patient's only generating negative 20 of negative pressure, then that means they don't have enough strength in their diaphragm anymore.
So normal NIS was negative 60 to negative 100.
Uh-huh.
So how do you determine that? Because I'm here on this is 60.
Well, then anybody over that is
So
good.
you know,
Yeah.
regardless if they hit that.
Yeah. All of us in here could pull negative 60 and more. Like it would go more negative.
That's for the NIF.
Yes. So critical values are between 0 and negative 20 or trending downward. So if it was minus 40, minus 30, minus 20, that's trending downward. Yeah.
How do you know it's trending? Is it just, you just sit there and wait, it just says?
You
okay?
do it like every 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Like the doctors will order these to be done every so often, and so you need to watch the trend in them. So if it was minus 50, minus 40, minus 30, that's trending downward. You need to intubate. You don't have to wait for it to get to minus 20. Then your patient's going to go into respiratory arrest. We need to do more preventative in a neuromuscular patient. Yes.
You have to wait till it's negative 20?
No, I said you don't.
Okay, okay.
If it's trending downward, you need to go ahead and intubate because we need to be more preventative in a neuromuscular patient instead of letting them get to the point where they go into cardiac arrest.
Is
Yes.
there, like, when it gets to about 30 or 40, as you like, out of 3, if you see it going down, you do it? Because if they're at like 70 and then it's 60, then it's 50, it's like, well, he's gonna be going down.
Yeah, you'll see we have some other numbers we're gonna look at too. So you
Okay.
kind of have to look at the whole patient. Oh, before I forget too, another things that we see that fall under these neuromuscular, because sometimes they come up on your test, are tetanus and botulism. Yeah, you don't want to forget about those. Cause big time lockjaw and problems. Botulism. Huh? Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, so that's the NIF for the MIP. So please understand that that is one test with a couple different names. So when we ask you to give us 3 tests, hint, I don't want a NIF as one and a MIP as another. It's one test.
So NIF and NIF is the same thing?
Yes. Okay, so what else might we need to monitor? Okay, how about tidal volume? Tidal volume. Less than 250 or less than 3 mLs per kilogram. That's critical, which is what you need to know. Yes.
What we also do, because it's a neuromuscular, we would also do cardiovascular instability in those patients because they can have with AL, because when the nerves start to degenerate and you start having less stimulus, same with the diaphragm, they can have you know, because it's like, what I'm thinking is like the slower your heart beats, the slower the respiration, or the faster.
They actually, their heart is not affected.
It's not effective.
No, these patients will seem like they're perfectly fine except for the fact that they can't move and or they can't breathe depending on the disease. The last test we want to look at is vital capacity, which is VC. You guys should know a little bit about that from last term. So vital capacity is going to tell us whether our patient has the ability to generate a cough. So that's why that's important. And for vital capacity, the critical values are less than a liter, or less than 15 mLs per kilogram. And anytime we talk about mLs per kilogram, remember we're talking about ideal body weight. So you would take the ideal body weight times 15, and that number, if your vital capacity is less than that, then that means that you cannot generate an effective cough, and you would need to be intubated.
Less than.
Yeah, or ideal body weight times 3, whatever the case is. So figure out your own ideal body weight and figure out what your vital capacity, your critical value is.